All right, so first things first, I've already kind of looked at this, so I already kind of know what I need to do here. All I've done is taken my quiver off this bow. I already kind of knew that this was out of time because I was watching my arrows and stuff flying all weird. But I'm going to show you guys kind of what I see here. So first things first, I can put this on the vise, but I'm going to have to pull it back on the draw board to kind of show you the effect of what's going on here anyway. So we're just going to go straight to the draw board with it. I know from previous experience, I barely have enough room here before being up against the wall. I have to, move my dovetail side in. Let me show you what's going on, and I'll explain to you why it happened the way it happened. So Matthews and other bow manufacturers do this. They'll have like a line or a hole on their cam system, but this is the timing hole basically on the cams on this VXR. And so you can see this upper cam, we're in time, we're good to go. It's going right through the center. That's in a perfect world, that's what you want. If we come down here to this lower one, you can see if we get you perfectly square with the hole, which is there, we're not going through the center. It doesn't look like much, but I'm going to show you on a draw board what that does. And so what we're going to need to do, I'm going to put it on the draw board and I'm going to show you what happens. But as the cam rotates, I have cable stops on my mods, the switch weight mod system. When you come to full draw, the mod will make contact with the cable. And what you're going to see is one of these is going to be severely delayed over the other. Pretty easy to fix. In that cable, you're just going to put some twist in. I know what I need to do to fix it. It's going to be this cable here, this upper one that terminates here on the back side, right there. I just know from experience it's probably going to be about a twist to a twist and a half into that cable, which is going to, keep everything good to go with the rest of them. But let's go ahead and get this. I'm just going to set you guys up here for a second. Perfect. Yep. Perfect. I'll be able to show you. All right. So this is what I was talking about. This mod, as it goes through the draw cycle, it's going to stop up against this cable. If I kind of rock this back and forth here a little bit, you'll see it kind of separate and come back on it. See, there you go. They were making contact, but I have to go to the next click. So if you look, we're touching there, and I'm not going to do anything with this. We're just going to pan down here. And you see all that separation? That is no bueno. It's going to give you a spongy back wall. Basically, because this cam is delayed, this cam is going to be more advanced. It's going to give you a weird kick with your arrow. So we're going to fix that. And we're going to go ahead and press this bow. I leave a little bit of tension on my string here just to make sure everything stays where it's supposed to. All right. And we're just going to set that down. So basically, I know from personal experience, this is the top of the bow here, this is the bottom of the bow. If my lower cam is delayed, I need to put twist into this cable here. And we're going to start with, I think it's going to take 1 to 1.5. So we'll go, there's a half, there's 1. And we're going to put it back on here. It's really, really important that you make sure that all your strings and your cables are in the tracks or the holders or whatever it is you got going for your bow before you let tension out of the press. I keep holding up on the string, which is a good idea because if you keep a little bit of tension on there, it ensures that everything is going to stay where it's supposed to be. Okay, so that's good. Everything's looking really kosher. Let's go ahead and just take the bow out of the press. Okay, we are just now making contact. So upper mod barely touching that cable there, and we're pretty much there. So what I need to do, I put one twist in there. What we're gonna need to do, and it may be hard for me to show you guys this, I'm basically just going to rock this back and forth a little bit. And if I get this set up to where I just barely am touching the cable, right? So right there, just before the next click, I can see that I have a little bit of space on my lower cam. So I'm going to show that to you. Because obviously if I go to that click where the drawboard will hold itself, it's too far. And this lower cam, this module is up here the same as it is down here, except for this one is touching just before this one is touching. So I'm going to show that to you. Let me move the camera here. All right, there we go. So you can kind of tell, I mean, if you look at the upper one, you can see the cable's a little bit deflected, but if you watch this module right here as it makes contact with this string, I'm going to rock back. We're off it there. But on the upper one, of course I can see this and you guys can't. Right there, I am just barely touching the cable. And you can kind of see there at this lower one, there's a little bit of a gap. Put my hand behind it. You see that? So we need to put maybe another half twist in that cable. The upper one that I did before. Okay, and I will drop my string down out of the way. We'll back this cam. And we're going to put another half twist. I think that's probably all it's going to take. Because we are really, really close. Pull up on the string here, make sure I'm in every guide groove that it's supposed to be. Things look good. Right there I'm touching, and I have just a little bit of space in the upper one now. So you basically went just a little bit too far with that half twist, but you can't do quarter twists. Here, this is just a prime example of, there's a lot of good Bowtechs and stuff out there. This extra step that I'm going to have to show you guys to make sure everything's in tune and in time, pretty much every tech knows about this. There are a lot of shops where they're like, you know, it's pretty close. It's good enough. What kind of got me going with taking care of my own stuff is I have a lot of really, really great bow shops, right? You know, obviously in certain circumstances, especially if you wait for like the last 3 weeks before season opens, or last month, or even 2 months, honestly, your laziness puts a major strain on a lot of these shops. And I understand life happens. A pretty busy individual. I have found that if a person has a lot of bows to work on and a lot of deadlines to meet, taking the little step of what I'm about to do and show you guys, may not be something that if you've waited till the last minute to bring your bow in and get everything set up that they may not do for you. And to be fair, you can't really expect them to do it for you when you've waited till the last minute. So I'm going to show you what I see from my perspective here. So you can see there's just that little bit of space there, just that little bit, right? And down here, I'm just starting to make contact. And what I'll do, I only have a 27.5-inch draw length, so this is hard, but to reach over here and manipulate this draw board a little bit, right? So right there, we're making like full contact. If we look up here, we have that gap. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of a spacer in this cable right here, because now we have gotten, by twisting up this cable here, we have gotten this cam to move forward to where now this mod is slightly faster, or to making contact on the cable, than this one is. So you obviously can't do quarter turns, because you can see by looking at, this is for my string, it's not for the cable, but the cable is the same way. You have an eye loop here. You can only turn it 180 degrees, or 180 degrees either direction is your smallest increment. You can't go 90. So what we need to do is we need to basically somehow make this cable here, right, which goes here. This is the one we were twisting, not this one. We have to somehow make this cable just a little bit tighter. And I'll teach you that trick. Let me get stuff set up. All right, so what I've got here is just a little piece of BCY24. I got purple just so it'll kind of show up against these strings a little bit better. But all we're gonna do is basically make a little bit of a spacer to introduce into the string or the cable. So we're gonna fray this end out because we don't want this to come out, right? Just like you would do for tying a D-loop. So I'm basically just gonna puff this out. Nice, all right. And we're going to melt her down. And we're just going to tap her up against there, because I've learned that, you know, this piece of metal here on the lighter doesn't feel heat where my fingers do. Nice, perfect. And just in case we have to do a second one, I'm going to do the other end as well. Because we're only going to use, you know, maybe like, I don't know, an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch at most of this material for each one. So I have here, you know, like 3 inches. Yeah, 3 inches. Let's go ahead and melt this down. And what you're gonna want is basically to have it look kind of like the head of a nail, just kind of like that. So now I'm gonna set this here and let's press this bow. Now remember, we were putting twist in this cable here, and so now the lower mod, which cam, which you can't see because this is the upper one, is now fast. So because we were twisting this one up to catch the lower, right, cam up to the upper cam, and now it's too fast. Now what we were doing here is done, which means we have to do it on this cable here. And I will move the camera so you can see. Well, it looks like you can kind of see. I'll position you a little bit better. All right, so in an effort to give you guys the best viewing angle, before I had you sitting up here on my table kind of looking down at the bow, so I basically flipped you. So now you're standing on my side of the bow. To put things into perspective, obviously my lower cam is right here. This is the cable we're going to be working on, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in. All right, now you can kind of see what we're doing. So we're going to go ahead and
You don't even have to take your cable off the bow to do this. Boy, I see what people are talking about when they're like working around the camera is kind of a pain. But we're basically going to just untwist by twisting it backwards the string, and we're going to want to find the halfway point. And I know just because of the string manufacturer, I know about where that is just based on separating colors. Man, this is really difficult to do around the bow. So we're going to get all of the gray and half of the green on one, or all of the gray and all the green on one side, and all of the orange and all of the green from the other 180 degrees on the string on the other side. So you basically open up a loop just like so, okay? And we're going to take this and we're just going to slide it through there, okay? And just let it sit there. That's all you need to do. Now we're going to pull up on the string, make sure that holds itself in place. I'm going to ensure that all of my cables and stuff are where they're supposed to be, which it looks like they are, and we're going to depress the bow. All right, so here we go. You can't really see, it's right here. I guess you kind of can. Having that Pelican bow case there doesn't do any justice for being able to see dark colors. I apologize about that. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and draw this back, and we're going to see basically what was happening is our lower mod down here. You can't quite see it in frame right now, but after putting twist in up here, that lower mod was coming around and making contact up against the cable just a little bit too fast. So we basically needed to speed this end up just a little bit more, and because you can't do quarter turns on a string, this is a good way to just kind of get that little extra bit to make it perfect. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Okay, that did the trick. I'm gonna show you. Okay, so we're going to come back here, and if you notice, we're a little bit pressing in on that, so we're just going to back to the previous click there, and right there, okay, and I'm barely just moving that handle just a little touch further. We got perfect kind of a touch there, so we're just going to kind of leave it there, and we're going to go down to this lower mod right here. And lo and behold, would you look at that? Boy, my goodness, that is just perfect. You couldn't really ask for much better than that. All right, so you can't really make it out. Here, I'll move it so you can, but we're obviously going to cut all this off. And I was kind of wanting to get you guys as much light as possible, but let's go ahead and try this. Yeah, you can definitely see what we're doing a lot better with that close. So let's just go ahead and leave that shut. Now we're going to do, you only want to leave like maybe a 16th, or not a 16th, but an 8 to like 3/16 of an inch of material here. I guess you could leave it really as long as you wanted. It's not really going to hurt anything. It's just going to be more stuff kind of in your way. And, we like things to look as clean as possible. This really isn't the end of the world here. I mean, I would much rather have a little bit of material here inside of my cable. I don't care that the color doesn't match. You could do that if you wanted to. What's more important to me is knowing that my bow is tuned and perfectly in time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hold this cable out of the way here because heat will rise. And these are pretty close to one another. And we're just going to go ahead and get this guy melted. Okay, and give her a little press there. And just like that, we have got ourselves a little bit of a spacer in the string. You kind of would have to like be looking for it to see it. It honestly isn't like the world's most, glaring, obtrusive thing, in my opinion. Like I said, what's more important to me is knowing that my bow is perfectly in sync, in tune, and in time. Hey, so it never occurred to me, I didn't show you guys the timing, but if you look, perfect. And perfect.